Hello and welcome to HG Movie Talk. I am your host, Deans, with all the beans you could ever imagine in the world. And as always, I'm joined by a beautiful man, a man I haven't spoken to in a very long time, since I last saw his face in the flesh. A Fluffy, a Duffy.
Thank you
Hello.
for the introduction. You kind of got me a little bit distracted. You said you have all the beans in the land, like you have all the beans, right?
So,
Right?
so I was about to say a fact that is now number one, very British, and number two, not true. So the king owns all the swans in the UK. He owns all the swans. That's a
Okay.
fact. And it's like I own all the beans. So you might have beans in your house, but technically I still own them.
What about baked beans?
Oh, especially baked beans.
Yeah, what are baked beans?
What are baked beans? They're just beans in tomato sauce. Don't ask me what type of beans. Moving on. We
Okay,
are
well, looks like we have different types of baked beans, which means my baked beans are mine. Skadoosh.
no, they're mine. They're
No, they're
beans.
not, because
They're
I asked you what are the baked beans, and you said something that weren't mine.
No, I
Oh,
thought you asked me what are baked beans, as in what is
yes,
a
my
okay
baked beans is in like a brown sweet sauce.
brown.
Yeah.
If your beans are in a brown orange, okay, we're getting sidetracked early. We're trying to, we waffle for so long in these episodes
We
nowadays.
do, but I to
I didn't
all
even say your
the
name. Your name is Harlan.
my name's Harlan. Your name's Dean. And together we're Harlan and Dean.
HD movie talk
All right, what are we talking about today,
podcast.
Dean?
We're talking about the biggest, the baddest, the best film of the last week, and that is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
When I say baddest, I mean like bad in a good
like
way.
like like
That film's
um
bad. No, at least it still sounds bad.
yeah, you can't really recover from that one. Okay. You posted a YouTube review of this.
Yeah,
I posted a TikTok review of this.
yeah.
What did you rate yours out of 5?
I did all. I did.
Do you remember your rating?
I do.
What was your rating?
Did you rate yours out of 5?
I rated mine out of 10.
Okay. Do you want me to double mine and then we say it at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, 8.
8.5.
Oh, pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same, but I gave it an extra 0.5.
Because I'm not going to make any jokes. Spoilers, everyone.
Spoilers, yes.
Full spoilers. I can't be bothered to not spoil this film.
And also, I'm probably gonna say Namor's name wrong
Yeah,
multiple
you're gonna
times.
say Namor. Yeah, I know. I know the feeling.
It's a little bit. I'm a little slow.
Yeah, and just
Um.
you know,
Okay,
okay. Tell me
you've
what
seen
the
Black
plot
Panther.
of this film was.
Oh, you want me to? Okay. The plot of this film, it starts off immediately with the death of T'Challa, which is very chilling.
Yeah,
And Shuri tries to save him by creating an artificial herb, the same herb that gave, you know, Black Panther
yeah,
their power because it was all burned by Killmonger, but she's not able to do it in time. So then it's a very emotional death of T'Challa. And there's a funeral. And then life goes on. A year goes by. Um, the world is trying to steal vibranium from Wakanda, but it's not necessarily going well. But through those attempts, it is discovered that there is vibranium at another place on the planet.
under the sea, under the sea,
Sebastian the crab
down
is
where
just
it's wetter. Everything. He lives at Talakan.
yeah, so the place is called Telecan, and Namor and his people are defending it, and then Namor goes to Wakanda and to Shuri and the Queen and it's like, "Hey, you guys and us, we should team up."
Like Vulture at the end of Morbius.
And then I have a feeling it has something to do with Spider-Man.
Namor
I'm
did say that.
thinking
Namor.
you and I should team up. Um, so where was I?
Um, we should team up.
Oh yeah, and
No, I'm
then
saying me and you should team up on some podcast.
oh, that's a splendid idea. Let's do it next time. Um, And then what happens after that?
They have to go and find the scientist who made the machine that can track vibranium. They're like, okay, let's
Right?
go find this scientist. They call their old friend Everett Ross. Um, I'll get into that later. And they go on a trip and they find out this scientist is just a young woman. She's I keep going to say teenage, but I don't know how old she is. But she's studying at MIT or whatever, and they go and they take her back to Wakanda to protect her. But on their way back to Wakanda, they get attacked by some Talakanians. What are they called if you're from Talakan? I was having this conversation with podcast superstar Will. What are you called if you're from Talakan? Anyway, they get
Blue.
attacked and they're about to kill Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, who is the scientist. And Shuri's like, "Hey, take me to Talakan instead. I'm the princess." Blah blah blah. So she gets taken away. Then Okoye and Riri go to Wakanda, and Okoye has to give up her mantle as general of the army. And then, uh, and
Wait, but
then,
didn't Riri Williams go with Shuri?
oh yeah, you're right, she did. Sorry, I got confused there. Um,
It's a long movie.
and it's been a while, like a few days since I've seen it.
Yeah.
Um, and then they go to bloody Talakan. Shuri gets the tour, and Namor is like, "This is why I must protect this land. Do you understand why I have to kill the scientist?" Blah blah blah. And Shuri's like, "Yeah, but no, don't kill the scientist." And then Queen Ramonda goes to find Nakia, who goes and finds Shuri, who kills a Talakanian or a Talakanese or a Talaconian or an Atlantean. Who knows?
You're having fun with this, aren't you?
Yeah. And then Shuri's like, "Hey, that's bad." And then they get back to Wakanda, and Namor's like, "Hey, you just started a war," because that rhymed. And then the Talakanese invade Wakanda, uh, wreck the place, flood the place, kill Queen Ramonda, and they're like, "You have a week to kill the scientist." And then they bugger off again. Shuri's like, "Hey, I'm going to become the Black Panther and I'm going to defeat Namor," and she does. End of film.
And just a couple little bits he missed. Okoye, is that her name?
Yeah,
Is demoted as general.
I did say that.
Oh, you did? Oh, well, then she's also gifted a super suit that gives her superpowers. And it kind of looks like a Blue Beetle Power Ranger suit. And yeah,
Do you want to talk about this character by character?
sure,
Okay, let's start with who is arguably the main character.
sure.
Oh, I was gonna say Everett Ross.
Yeah, we'll get. Is that what we're starting with? Because
Oh,
that's
sure. I have a joke. Okay,
you
I
really
so
go for it.
I had so I have a friend who's Kenyan,
That's a lot.
and he adores
Not the Kenyan part, the front part.
he adores the first Black Panther film. Like he's obsessed with it, and he was really worried about this film, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like it." Blah blah blah. And then he kept saying jokes like, "Hey, if you don't like this film and I like it, then you're racist, man." And he was having to get me for stuff like that. And then he was like, "If you hear me swearing in Swahili while I'm watching the film, just leave me to it." And I was like, "Okay, man." And then to annoy him, I kept telling him my favorite Black Panther character was Everett Ross. I think it's a funny joke. I
It
think it's a
is
funny joke.
because
Anyway,
he's
because he's
ridiculously unimpressionable.
okay. Okay, I was about to start. We'll save that for when we talk about him. Um, okay, Shuri. What do you think of her becoming a lead? Does she are you like, wow, this is one of the MCU's strongest leads?
I wouldn't say necessarily the strongest lead, but I think it she does really well. I think her arc that she's given in the movie, because like she's immature, and then once she's set on the path of being a leader, she kind of uh, she has that relationship with Killmonger that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really see coming that I thought was smart. Um, and I think taking a side character and putting them in the lead spot can go poorly, and I don't think it went poorly.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't one of the parts of the film that I wasn't a fan of was her arc in particular. That's because I think the thing is, I think so. Her arc is pretty much the same as T'Challa's in Civil War, and I think that's an of it like a that's a
Mm-hmm.
parallel that exists on purpose. And I think, despite the limited screen time, T'Challa works so much better in Civil War, and that's because I never really bought Shuri as this vengeful character because the film kept telling us that she's vengeful and she is out for blood and blah blah blah. But I just never really bought it.
I thought she was pretty vengeful. Well,
I think it kind of came. There's okay, so there's a bit near the start just before she first meets Namor, and she's like, "Oh, I want to watch the world burn," and I'm like, that kind of feels out of nowhere. Like after Queen Ramonda dies, I think that kind of vengeful stuff
yeah.
works a bit
No,
better.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know. I feel like the film tells us she's a vengeful character more than they show it to us.
Yeah. Well, before the Queen Ramonda death part,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. But I don't know.
If okay, let's go through and let's rate all the characters out of 10.
Like, what if we should we do
Well,
a classic ranking, or do you want to just rate them?
let's just rate them because
Okay.
that's like a whole video or podcast on its own.
Okay. Shuri out of 10.
Give her,
Six, six and a half,
I
seven.
give her 8.
Okay, I'll give her seven because you're making me feel bad. So that's a
Um,
7.5 average.
let's do Ironheart next because I want to talk about Ironheart.
Interesting choice because she's not the second main. Okay, okay. Who's going first?
I will.
Go.
Ironheart was probably the character I was most concerned about in this movie. And that's only because I know Marvel has a lot of intentions on focusing a lot on her in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like to me that she was just sort of another sort of like Miss Marvel character where where it's similar to Spider-Man 2, where it's like a fanboy that kind of has the
Yeah,
same
I
like
got
giddy
very
go
Civil War
lucky.
vibes, especially when she's like, "Oh, can I go home and do my homework?" That's like very Civil War.
Right. But however, I feel like Riri Williams is extremely different than either Miss Marvel or Spider-Man. And I think I really enjoyed watching her on screen, and I think the way they set her up has me looking forward to her series.
Yeah. So my number one main complaint with this film was I think there was too much going on and it was too long.
Yeah.
And I think Ironheart definitely added to that in some regards. Like the thing is, I enjoyed her as a character and I think she worked. But in a film this busy, I'm kind of like she's one of the bits that isn't as necessary as a lot of the other stuff.
I will say that I think like after like going into this like second half of the movie, that's when she becomes kind of out of place. But the first half, I think
Yeah,
incorporating her like her being like a kid that was manipulated to build this machine
yeah.
for the government. I thought that was a really interesting way.
But it's never really explored as a concept. She just finds out her machine was stolen, and that's the end of that.
That's true, but also like maybe that'll be kind of what the Iron Heart series is dealing with.
Sure. I mean,
But also like, would you have wanted to see that? Because I know I wouldn't really have cared for it.
well, no, but I feel like there could be more, even just a few lines of dialogue about it, because I feel like it's forgotten about after that one scene. It's honestly not a complaint I thought of until just now when you pointed it out. So it's not something I have a big bugbear on, but
I give Ironheart an 8. Her character.
I don't really. What do you think of the suit?
Okay. When the Marvel Legends thing came out of it, which is like a toy brand of Marvel or whatever, I did not like the way the suit looked. I thought it kind of looked like, a cheap like bargain toy you would find in like the bottom of a bin at some supermarket. Um, but in the movie, I beside the eyes, yeah, I don't know, but the suit, I did it grew on me.
Yeah, I just don't. I always prefer the earlier Iron Man suits, which are a bit clunkier, and you can kind of see how someone fits in them and are a bit more like well realized.
Mm-hmm.
So like I liked her first prototype for those elements, but then the second one I think was just too smooth and clean and kind of like skin tight in a
So
weird way.
we're probably never going to see that suit again, or at least not for a
Yes.
while.
Yes, but it's going to be similar, I think.
What changes would you want to see from it?
I like something a bit more practical that is like a like phase one Iron Man suits where it's kind of like you can. The thing is like the later Iron Man suits, like they're anatomically impossible to fit a person in.
Right.
And like if she's building this in a cave with a box of scraps, sorry, in a garage with a box of
Garage.
scraps, then like I want it to be more because I don't want to use the word realistic because like who cares if your superhero films are realistic? But do you know what I mean?
No, I get what you mean.
Like something a bit like something that doesn't also feel like just a CGI
Yeah, that's fair.
thing.
So what do you give Ironheart?
7.
Okay.
Uh okay. Can we talk about who I think is the best character in this film?
All right.
Who do you think I'm about to say?
Everett Ross.
Yeah. No. Who do you think?
Mbaku.
No.
Namor.
No.
Okoye?
No. Come on.
Queen?
Yeah. I
Oh
think
yeah,
she
she
was
was really good.
I think she was phenomenal.
Yeah, she was.
Angela Bassett. Like the one scene in particular, which is in the trailer, and the bit in the trailer gave me, I think I've told you this, would like give me goosebumps every time I saw that trailer where she
Which one was
goes,
that?
I've given she's like, I am the queen of the most powerful nation on the world, and my entire family is gone. Have I not
Mm,
lost everything? And that scene when she like forced Okoye to resign was phenomenal, and she was amazing. And I just everything to do with that character in this film, I loved.
yeah. She I don't really have anything to add. She was kind of perfect in this movie.
Yeah, and like I'm kind of disappointed they killed her off. Like I understand why it had to happen for the plot, but just that she was so good, and then they kill her off, and I'm like, oh, I feel like we only just realized her potential.
No, I'm with you. It the her death seemed, although I understand, it did seem. Mm,
Like it kind of the thing is, I think that is something because there was a script for this film written for Chadwick Boseman, um, and Ryan Coogler has said a lot that a lot of the story is the same about Namor and Vibranium and Ironheart, and all that was in both versions of the film. And I think the death of Queen Ramonda is something that was in the first script and you could have taken out for the second one. And like I have no evidence
probably.
to say it was definitely in the first script, but like it feels to me like it was. Just something tells me it was.
Yeah, I think there was probably other ways, like because how I look at it is like from like a storytelling perspective,
Yeah.
the queen had to die so that Shuri would grow vengeful enough
Yeah.
to
And then like
be.
you need you need something to like drive the plot forward at the start of the third act. And that's what it was. But it was just, and it worked. It worked. Her death
It
worked.
worked.
I have no
Yes.
complaints about that. But it was just, she was so good. And now I'm kind of just disappointed we won't see her again, which is the best way to do it, I guess.
Yeah. So what are we doing at 10?
10.
10? All right.
10. Phenomenal. Do you want to talk about Okoye as the kind of ties in?
Sure. Okoye, I think, was awesome in this movie.
Yeah. Best action
Uh,
scene, I think, is the one on the bridge.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
She was funny. her character was kind of put to the test.
Yeah, it feels like she was given more personality in this as well, and I think that's just a screen time thing.
Um, but her suit at the end
Oh,
kind of
awful,
sucked.
awful. And the thing is, it's not just the suit. She had like the scene. I mean, I know I've already just spoken about how great the scene is, but the scene where she resigns is great. Is a great scene for her as well. And then they kind
Yes.
of just forget about that like arc for her, and she doesn't get much in terms of redemption or even like resolution. It's just they're like, oh, here, wear this really dumb suit and go into fight.
It it feels a little bit like um this is coming from a complete speculation standpoint, but it
Mm-hmm.
seems like they kind of like were like, okay, we need to have Okoye be in this suit for marketing toy reasons by the end.
To me, it feels like it might have been something like because there's always these rumors of an Okoye TV show where they're like, oh, let's set something cool up for that. And if
Right.
that's the TV show,
They gotta change the suit.
so yeah, that's I've heard something about them doing multiple Wakanda TV shows, and like Okoye is a great every what I loved about this film is obviously because of the death of Chadwick Boseman, they had to up the screen time of every other character. And the
Right.
first Black Panther movie did such a good job of building this rich world that every character was so interesting and so different. And like I really enjoyed the focus on all of them.
Yes.
And like I think the focus on Okoye was great, and I think she had some great stuff. But if a TV show's about that suit, then I don't freaking care.
You didn't they this the and all they say is the suit grants superhuman abilities. Why wasn't Shuri wearing it
And
all the time?
why is it different from like is it just another Iron Man suit? Like what is the point? You know,
I don't know.
what was it called again? The Midnight
The Midnight
God
Suns.
Suns. No, it's not the Midnight Suns. Like the Midnight. You keep talking. I'll figure it out.
Um, yeah, the suit. It, me and my
Midnight
friend
Angel.
Midnight Angel. We were making fun of it because it was like, do you play over? You haven't played Overwatch at all, have you?
I know bits, not a
Do you know
lot.
who Farah is?
Yeah,
We were calling
uh,
him Farah.
it's just that for me is the epitome of this film having too much stuff going on. Is that dumb
Yeah,
suit where like if you the thing I like there's a rule when it comes to screenwriting, but as you know, I'm an expert in it. I've written so
yeah,
many
yeah,
record
yeah.
just like more money making movies than Ryan Coogler could even dream of. But if something's in your story that if you cut it out, nothing changes, then don't have it in your story. Like everything in your story should serve a purpose, and I don't think they do.
And I feel like Ryan Coogler, out of almost any other of the Marvel directors, kind of understands that. So that maybe I think kind of clues me in that maybe this was a little bit of Marvel nudging him in a
I
direction.
feel like it's setting up a TV show or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
But I haven't seen anything good about the suits, and maybe they'll step back and go, "Oh,
Maybe. Um, so what do you
okay."
give Okoye?
Because she had really good stuff, and like they were setting her up for something really interesting with her having to resign from the as general, but then they never did anything with that. So I'm gonna have to go 7, I think. So
I give her a 7.5.
okay, 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 okay. Should we
Who's
talk
next?
about Namor?
Sure.
I thought,
Um,
yeah, he's a mutant.
Mutant. Calm down, buddy.
We also both just pulled the same face at the same time. We went, he's a mutant.
um, I liked him. He was intimidating. He
Mm-hmm.
was cool. I love the way he flies with his little wings.
His little wings. Yeah.
Um,
And it wasn't somehow they pulled this character off and it wasn't super silly. It was the king of Atlantis with little wings on his ankles.
yeah, they did a really good job incorporating like um like like Namor's culture
Yeah, like
into it,
the
which wasn't
Mayan
there
culture.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that element of it, and I think it's a really interesting thing to do with that character.
Um.
Um, and I yeah, like I think he's a physical threat, and he's also like the defining characteristic of Namor in the comics to me is just being an asshole. Like, because he's not a villain in the comics a lot of the time. Like he's a foe to a lot of heroes, but he's
Right.
not really a villain. He's just an asshole, and he was an asshole here, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
And like he wasn't a like I can see him becoming a hero as well. Like
But like some people are calling him an anti-hero, which he isn't really.
he's an antagonist, definitely.
Yeah.
But
Um.
yeah, he's the villain of the film, but I can see him being a protagonist of. I can see him joining the Avengers or whatever. Like,
He doesn't have like any like he just wants to do what he thinks is best for his
yeah,
people.
like
So if
I can't think of an MCU villain that after one appearance I've gone, oh yeah, I could see them joining the Avengers in a few years off the top of my head.
right.
And him, I'm being like, yeah, he can be a hero. He and like that kind of is what works about him is the fact that he's so just well justified in what
Right.
he believes and like his motivations make sense throughout. There's never like a lot of the time they're like, oh yeah, Killmonger's got these really good points, but now he wants to go and kill everyone. And Killmonger's a great villain, but like that slightly undermines his whole thing.
Um I think I rewatched Black Panther
So
when I
did I.
was on my way home from visiting you.
Oh, did you?
I watched four movies on my way home.
Oh, go on.
I watched Scream.
The new one,
No,
not
the
the
first
first.
one. I hadn't seen it before.
I watched the new one, then I watched the first one afterwards. Go on.
And then I watched Bo Burnham's Eighth Grade.
Oh, I really want to watch that.
And then I watched Bad Neighbors or Neighbors as it is in America.
I haven't seen it.
And then I watched Black Panther.
Nice. Anyway, what's your thoughts on Black Panther? I rewatched it
Well,
last Thursday.
I love Black Panther, but I think Killmonger, like his character stays consistent
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah, I'm not that's like the point. I'm not trying to like insult him as a villain or undermine him as a villain. I'm just saying the point you stop agreeing with him is the point at the end when he goes, now let's go kill
Oh
everyone.
yeah, yeah, it's true.
But
Yes.
with Namor, there's not really that point where I go, oh, now this character has crossed a line. And like maybe it's when he killed Queen Ramonda, but you still kind of like you see his thought process and it makes sense the
Yeah.
entire time.
No, I get what you mean for sure.
And I that's what worked for me. And like he was like you said, he was intimidating physically. The performance was great, and he was just like he was a douche, but he wasn't a villain, and that's what I enjoyed about it.
Totally. And the actor Tenoch Huerta is just awesome.
Yeah, he did really well, and I'm really looking forward to like I can't remember, I can't think of the last MCU villain that would have excited me this much to see more.
Yeah. What do you give him?
9.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 9. Who's next?
What do you want to see Namor in next? Like, what do you want to see from him? Would you give
Um
him like a show or a movie, or would you want to see him be of like a Fantastic Four villain like he does quite a lot?
um I think he deserves like one spot like on the good side.
Yeah, like I can imagine him being in Avengers, whatever.
Yeah. Maybe like Kang Dynasty or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I want to. I think he like could do a good. He could be a good TV show or film.
Oh, totally.
What was I going to say? I had another thought about him, but now it's gone.
Oh,
Do you know what
guess I'm
his
never
other
come back.
defining? Do you know what Namor's other defining personality trait is?
Hmm.
He loves sleeping with people's wives.
Any particular region of the world of which he prefers to sleep with?
Are you trying to get me? I mean, Sue Storm. He's always trying to sleep with Sue Storm.
Hmm.
But what do you think Namor would sound like if he came from like ancient Rome cultures instead of Mayan and Aztecs?
He'd probably be like, Mamma mia, I'm going to kill you if you don't get me the vibranium girl.
Mamma mia, now you'll see why I have to protect these lands. Okay, who's next?
Mbaku.
Umbaku. I was just thinking about Umbaku because I think he's got. I don't know why there's a line in this film which he says, which has really like just been rattling around my brain, and it's not even that interesting a line. It's when he goes, "Any idea what I'm about to say?" I don't think you will because it's a bit of a random line.
No, then I definitely
It's
won't.
he goes. I'm really. I went to do the accent, but I won't. Um, he says he says his people don't call him king or general. They call him Cuckoo Khan.
Cuckoo Khan.
I think
Of
that
course,
line
that's
is
the
just.
line.
Pardon?
That's like the line everybody's like
Is it?
saying. Yeah,
Maybe that's. It's a good line.
it is.
It's just because Cuckoo Clan is fun. I realized what it sounded like that time. Is that the joke?
Oh, maybe. Well, not in the. That's not a joke in the movie, but
No, but is it a joke? Is that why people are saying it?
no, no. Just say because he says it. He says it satisfying.
He does. It's just Winston Duke. What a man.
Winston Duke. His
What a
little.
man.
However, I do have a complaint.
Oh, here we go. Mr. Harlan Duffy, Mr. I'm in charge. Go on.
My favorite moment from Umbaku is like literally zero point 0.5 seconds long,
Mhm.
and it is an Avengers Endgame when during the entire people flying in the portal scene is blaring, and he just like stomps down one of the aliens, and he gives like the most guttural roar,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic.
What's your complaint?
We don't. Oh, right. Sorry, I got so. We he doesn't top it in this movie.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But I do like the bit where I can't remember who it is, but he does it. He did it a lot in Black Panther when Everett Ross would start speaking, and he just goes oh oh oh, and all his people start doing it as well. I think there was good comedy with him, and I kind of just like. I enjoy his vibe, and now he's a part of like the main
Yeah,
Wakandan people. Like I enjoy him joining with them, and like him still being like a devil's advocate type guy.
right.
And
But
I
like,
think he really works as like an advisor to Shuri throughout the film, like a mentor.
okay, I don't know if you picked up on this, but when he walks into the throne room for the first time, he's eating something, right?
Yeah, it looks like a carrot, but then it's not a carrot.
It's like a sausage, right? That's
But
why
he's
it's.
vegetarian.
But he's vegetarian,
But it looks like I thought it was a carrot, and I thought they were making a joke on him being vegetarian.
right? But doesn't. So their diet is all over the place.
Yeah, this is the MCU's biggest plot hole. Can we appreciate for a moment how funny the moment is at the end of the film, where they're like, "Your princess Shuri," and then you just get the slow panning up of just this huge guy coming down the stairs in his book.
For a split second, there was like I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's funny, and like, he's the king now?
I don't think so.
I thought that the ending was ambiguous, but I read that as he's taking over the throne and Shuri didn't want to do it because he's like, I'm challenging the throne of. He's like, Shuri isn't here, but I'm challenging for the throne of Wakanda. That's what he says.
Yeah, but I think Shuri still has control of it.
But she never became queen. That's how that ritual there was how she becomes queen. Because it was the same thing in Black Panther when T'Challa. That's how T'Challa became king. Because
Maybe there's no.
he had to stand there and they'd be like, "Does anyone from this tribe challenge him?"
Yeah, no, you're. I interesting. Maybe they just. I don't think.
I think they left it vague on purpose, but they kind of left it with the implication of like M'Baku.
I think they left it vague. With is it Shuri or is it? Because I didn't get that impression.
I got that impression, and then they cut the scene off, and I was like, "Oh, are they not doing that?" Like that's what I was thinking. Because it's
Mm.
like, "Oh, sure, oh."
I just took it more as like Shuri was like, "Hey, Mbaku, can you do this for me real quick?"
I feel like it does feel weirdly open ended. I think that might have something to do with whatever Marvel's relationship with Letitia Wright is at the moment.
Mm, yeah, probably.
And like I would really like it if it was just like a different Black Panther every film.
You would?
I kind of would.
I don't know.
But okay, put it this
I
way.
mean, I want to see M'Baku as the Black
Well,
Panther
yeah,
because that'd
by
be
the time
cool.
there's a Black Panther 3, we would have had Shuri in 2 Avengers films, probably. And like she's good, but don't really have any strong desire to see her lead another one of these. Because like she's good, but the most interesting part of this film for me was a lot of the other characters.
Yeah,
So like I would love to see M'Baku in a big Black Panther suit. That would be sick.
that would be really cool. Or
Or
like,
just do a Black Panther 3 and be like, oh no, we need more than one Black Panther because it's such a big threat, and like do
we need
Nakia.
80 Black Panthers.
Yeah, the portals open up. Martin Freeman's in a Black Panther costume.
um, okay, so what do we give M'Baku out of
Uh
10 for this movie?
Pardon?
For this movie.
8, a 9, 9. Like he's not in it loads, but he does works, I think.
Give him an 8.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I respect that. Okay, Nakia.
I got a fat old crush on Lupita Nyong'o.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. So does my Kenyan friend I went to watch this film with.
How could you not?
Yeah, she's not like a super interesting character, but like,
No, we're not really.
it's not boring, and it's not like oh why. It's not like when there's characters that when walk on screen and stuff. I'm like, why are they here? I never felt that with her.
I liked her more in this than the first Black Panther.
Yes, me too.
Her suit was cool, like when she went swimming.
Yeah,
I like that. Um, I enjoyed the ending with her with little T'Challa.
I
That
saw
was
that coming a
awesome.
mile off. I would just did you?
No.
The second they went, oh yeah, she's been gone 6 years. I was like, she's pregnant. I just knew it. I just knew it.
Okay. Good job, Dean.
And so
I'm
did
so
Will.
happy for you.
He said he did as well. We agreed with each other on it.
Will didn't. No, he just wants to feel cool.
So that to his face.
I will. And then he'll start crying. And I'll be like, don't worry, it's okay.
Will, if you're listening to this episode, message me right now. Okay.
And then
Just message
message
me the phrase saying, I really love you, Dean. Okay. No context. And I'll see if I remember. Because I'll probably be like, Will, are you dying or something?
um
You know
we
what?
have
If
do
anyone,
you
if you know me, like, just message me that right now. I'd
you okay,
appreciate it.
Dean?
Don't, please don't. I don't want to get messages from strangers saying that. Well, I do. My self esteem is that. No, okay. Let's stop talking about this. What did
Nakia.
Nakia do other than
She's
save Shuri?
save Shuri.
What did she do at the end of the film?
She was just fighting with the rings.
Oh yeah, she had the rings, didn't she? But she had a good like, oh, well done for making the heart shaped herb. That stuff worked actually when
Yeah.
she was kind of mentoring Shuri as well. Oh yeah, why don't we talk about Killmonger?
Oh, yeah. Well, first let's finish Nakia. What do you give her
Okay,
out of 10?
7.
8.
Okay, what would you give her as a character though?
Oh, whoa, no, we're giving her
okay,
8. I'm talking about the character.
okay,
Calm down.
okay. Killmonger. That was like that scene people had predicted like years ago. I feel like,
Yeah.
but it worked, and like, yeah,
I was just I had a feeling that's what they were going to do, and I was worried that they were going to be like, he's still alive, but they didn't. So I
I
appreciate
think
that.
Marvel must be so annoyed with themselves that they killed him off.
Yeah, but I I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But they did kind of like, I think that type of character is something you could like, you know, they could do a lot more of. because it's kind of like a guy
Yeah.
getting back at his past.
But I
Like,
think it's also more like, oh, we just wasted Michael B. Jordan.
right. Yeah. Because now they can't use this insanely talented actor to
Yeah, and
say,
like, yeah, it's kind of like I imagine they're in.
unless they bring him back for Avengers Secret Wars as
They
the
could.
Human Torch.
I thought you were about. They could. And Chris Evans.
Well, actually, this doesn't make any difference to you, people listening to this, but I have a video where Chris Evans is at number one on my list as the Human Torch. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what the video is? I'll give you it's a top five.
Top five. I don't know.
It's top five characters outside of the MCU, not outside of the MCU, but like forgotten characters that I want to see in Secret Wars.
Not like Oh, I bet I can think
And
of someone I'd
and
rather.
in fourth place is Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth from Men in Black International.
Is
What does that
everybody
mean?
on the list just another MCU actor in a different role? Did you do
No,
Ghost Rider at two?
Ghost Rider is not on the list.
I'd Ghost Rider would be like number one for me, just because I'd love to see Nick Cage.
Ghost
Nick,
Rider is six,
okay,
but
go
he's
on,
not
tell
on
me
the
the
list.
list. Do I?
The list is at number five is Bruce Campbell as Mephisto.
Sure.
Number four is Men in Black
Yeah,
International.
yeah.
Number three is James McAvoy as Charles Xavier.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by that.
Number two is Edward Norton as Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I'm not really bothered by that one either.
And number one is Chris Evans.
Nick Cage would be number one for me.
He's a little old though. Like I feel like it'd be like a little jarring.
He doesn't look that old.
He did in Ghost Rider 2.
Yeah, but that's just because they're trying to make him look young. Are you saying Chris Evans won't look old as the
No,
Human
but
Torch?
Chris Evans just got sexiest man of the year. I think he's gonna be okay. Nick Cage is not getting that ever.
Nick Cage is sexy.
Not the sexiest man
You're never
of
going
the
to be as
year.
sexy as Nick Cage.
That's
What a takedown. What a brutal takedown.
that was a pretty brutal takedown.
Okay, okay, okay,
All
okay.
right, now let's
I
get into
I think I think 100% we're gonna see Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire hang out in Secret Wars. I would bet so much money on that.
dude. Just the idea of that happening has me tearing up.
Well, exactly. That's why they would do it, because it's like the easiest home run in the world, and they've got both actors back. 100%. There's no doubt in my mind that that will happen. Just think about how much of a home run that would be.
Yeah.
Like check in your $3 billion check right now, Disney. You can spend it.
So speaking of MCU cameos, Everett Ross.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Everett Ross in the first Black Panther film. I like Martin Freeman, and I like his character's
Yes.
fine. Like I don't dislike the character at all.
No, like I'm not like get off the screen when he's on the screen. He's
Yeah,
enjoyable.
and
He's
he's fun.
charismatic.
I think he's fun. He's got fun moments.
Yes.
In the first film, I felt like he was kind of tacked on to a lot of it. Where like, sure, I get why he needed to be with the Andy Serkis stuff, but then you didn't have to bring him to Wakanda. And I think a lot of that stuff, like, I feel like he didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And in this film, he feels a lot more necessary. The bits he's in feel a lot more necessary to the plot and a lot more linked in than it does in the first film for me.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel almost like his storyline goes absolutely nowhere.
No, like his storyline itself doesn't, but the way he feeds into the plot, I think, is useful and like ties into the plot.
Well, it makes sense that Everett Ross would give the Wakandans the information of Riri Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I feel like every time it cuts back to Everett Ross, the movie just kind of halts.
Yeah. Um, Like I understand the complaint, but I found the scenes enjoyable enough, and I liked his relationship with Wakanda, and I enjoyed those elements, and maybe that's just what made distracted me from it.
I did like how he was like loyal to the Wakandans,
Yeah,
and
and like he's just a good guy. He's like, yeah, sure, he saved my life, and like I'll chat with the Queen, and I'm just a nice guy all round. And I'm like, yeah,
but I really didn't care about the evil Nick Fury lady. I forget her name.
uh, Contessa.
I felt like
I
she.
Yeah, the initial surprise kind of won me over, I think. Because I'm like, oh, there's a thing I know, and I'm just a brainless fanboy. Do you know? Like when a thing comes, like when Namor said mutant, and you point at the screen and you go, I know what that means. It
Dude,
was one of those
literally,
moments.
when he did that, I was like, "Huh." It's like
Yeah,
like the Leonardo DiCaprio
yeah. I
meme where
was
he's like,
just yeah, but like when that was the same thing when she walked onto screen. I was like,
"Yep,
and I think it's kind of the same thing with Ironheart, which you were saying earlier on, which doesn't excuse it, but it's like, oh, but maybe you'll enjoy it more and it'll make more sense when we've seen Thunderbolts. And then
that's
you'll
true.
watch back this and you'll be like, nice. Is Martin Freeman going to be in Thunderbolts? Yes, please.
Yes, please."
Is he
As the
related
Red
to
Hulk.
Thunderbolt Ross?
What?
Is he related to Thunderbolt Ross?
Who's Thunderbolt Ross?
The guy Harrison Ford's going to play, who William
Oh,
Hurt played.
hold on. I, his first name is Thunderbolt.
Yes, you're making me doubt myself. I'm checking myself now. I'm checking. Yeah, his name's Thunderbolt. His name is Thunderbolt's his nickname. He's called Thaddeus.
Well, how did I never put that together? How did I?
The Thunderbolts weren't originally named after him, but they later became named after him, I believe.
So they were called Thunderbolts, but they weren't named after him.
Yes.
And then
They were like a team that Zemo started that had nothing to do with him.
but Thunderbolt Ross was already named Thunderbolt Ross, and then Marvel
I would
also
assume
had
so.
a team named Thunderbolts, but they had no connection.
Yeah,
They
and
made them
then
have a
later on
connection.
they linked it and made him in charge of the team.
Yeah, I think I hope we can both agree on that being extremely stupid.
I don't know, stupid, but it's weird.
It's
It's
being like, okay,
unusual.
guys, we're gonna make a team called the Peter Parkers, but if anybody asks us if it has any relation to Spider-Man, we punch them in the face because that's wrong.
It's like calling a team the Peters.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Anyway, if the funny thing is, if Everett Ross is related to Thunderbolt Ross, that's funny because then like the three people we know from the government in the MCU being Contessa and then the two Rosses are all related. And I think that's funny.
Contessa's related to.
Martin Freeman, they were married. Did you just like go on your phone whenever Martin Freeman appeared on screen?
Okay, how dare you? How even dare you allude that I might go on my phone during a movie?
I thought you were about to say, how dare you allude to the fact that I don't love Martin Freeman? Then I remembered you're not British and probably don't have the same affinity for him that I do.
He's fine.
He's a great actor. He's
No,
fun. He's very
he's
funny.
he's
He's
so
great
good.
with comedy.
Like,
He's in
oh
the
my god,
better
he's
version
my.
of The Office. I don't care about The Office argument, to be honest. I couldn't care less.
Well, you know you're wrong about that though, right?
But I just said I couldn't care less. I don't have an opinion on the matter, to be
But
honest.
you know you're wrong.
But you don't know what my opinion is.
Well, you just said he's in the better version of The Office
Yeah,
as a
and then I
joke.
said I don't care and I don't have an opinion on it. I was just saying that to rile you up.
Well, congratulations, Dean. I'm riled.
Okay, he was married to Contessa because they make a conversation about they make jokes about her being his
How did I miss
ex-wife.
that?
That's funny that you missed that.
I think I was just so irritated. I was like, why aren't we looking at the Black Panther right now? And I missed
This
it.
must be the superhero sequel that takes the longest to introduce the titular character.
Yeah.
Anyway, is there any other characters to talk about?
There's
There's
like
like
side
AO
characters.
and yeah, people like that.
They're all good.
Yeah, there's no characters which I'm like get off the screen. Like Atuma and Nomura, I'm a bit like who cares, but they're not bad.
Okay, so I think we got through all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
We've given our review on the movie. Is it an
Mm-hmm.
8.5?
Mm-hmm.
For you, where does this movie land um in your phase 4 ranking?
Did you see the comment I left in your Phase 4 ranking video?
Yes, but I forgot what you said.
I said that it's not the end of Phase 4 because Guardians of the Galaxy is Phase 4.
But Kevin Feige said that
Holiday special.
Guardians of the Galaxy is phase 5.
On all the websites it says Phase 4. I checked before I commented it because I was like, I don't want to make a fool of myself. And I Googled Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special Phase, and everything says Phase. No, has he actually said what? Because I don't think he said. He said from my recollection, he said Black Panther is the end of Phase 4, and Ant-Man is the start of Phase 5. I googled Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special Phase, and it says Phase 4.
Okay, wait. I'm on comicbook.com
Mm-hmm.
and it says oh, the MCU Phase 4 concludes in November with Black Panther Wakanda Forever in theaters November 11th and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special on Disney Plus November 25th.
There you go. Anyway, third best film of Phase 4.
I put it over. I put it over. I was struggling with this. I put it over Shang-Chi only because I think this movie is more impactful and it has more heart.
I don't know if I'd go as far as saying it has more heart. It's got more emotion.
Yeah, but like I feel like this movie left more of a impact on me than Shang-Chi
Yeah,
did.
that's true. We
Like
didn't
when I
really
saw
talk about
Shang-Chi, I
Chadwick's
was
stuff
like,
here.
when I saw Shang-Chi, I was like, that's a good movie. Like I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
But I was
Okay,
like
okay, okay.
affected by Black
But
Panther.
okay? You're saying you weren't affected by Shang-Chi. Wait until I mention this one scene, and then you'll be like, oh wait, I was deeply affected by Shang-Chi. How could I be so stupid? The end credit scene with Wong singing karaoke. Are you telling me that you didn't think about that every day for the rest of your? I think about that scene so often. So often.
You got me. I'm a fraud. I just lie because I think that's what people want.
Okay. Before we end, I just want to tell you something which I found interesting, and no one else, other than people who are sad enough to listen to this podcast, will find interesting.
Yeah.
Since like 2016 within the MCU, the the throne of Wakanda has changed 7 or 8 times.
7 or 8.
So, okay,
Oh, wait, wait, okay. Hold on. Can
go
I
on.
see if I can do this?
Go on.
Okay, so King T'Chaka dies.
Yeah.
T'Challa takes over. So that's
Change one.
change one. And then Killmonger takes the throne.
Yeah.
You tell me if I missed one.
I will. I will.
Killmonger takes the throne. T'Challa takes it back.
Mm-hmm.
And then um T'Challa dies.
Yeah.
And then
Who takes over from T'Challa?
the Queen.
Yeah.
T'Challa
And
comes back.
yeah.
He dies again.
Yeah.
And then
Tough
the Queen
break
takes
for.
it.
How long was he alive for again before he died again? That's what I don't know.
A
Tough
year.
break for T'Challa.
No. He was alive for like not even a year.
Yes, yeah, I know. He just died.
That's really sad.
It is.
Okay.
Anyway,
And then
not as sad as Chadwick Boseman dying. And then he
and then
died again.
and then Shuri or Umbaku takes over.
Yeah, so it's 7.
Yeah. Wow.
What a turbulent time.
Turbulent indeed.
Hmm. Anyway, really good tribute to Chadwick. I realize I haven't said that.
Yes. Yes.
I cried so quickly in this film.
I never shed a tear, but I teared up a lot.
Like, I don't think a film has made me cry as fast as this film did.
That's true.
Anyway, that's all I've got to say because I realized we hadn't really talked about that, and that's a bit of an oversight because that's such a big part of this film.
Yeah, that's like the entire purpose.
We're just more like there was a cameo by
and then Everett Ross,
and then of the MCU,
and then Ironheart came in.
My favorite bit of the film was when Everett Ross was going on a little jog listening to a song. Okay, but like I was unreasonably hyped by that moment, and I don't know why. I think it was because I'd been making jokes about this guy being my favorite character that like a part of me had started to believe it. But like when he appeared, I was like, yeah. It was a cool character introduction of just that shot and the music.
So bad.
And the music as well. Good song choice.
I have an Everett Ross.
You do. You told me. Oh, because that's how the joke started.
Okay, you clue him in. I'm gonna go get him.
Okay. At Comic-Con, every time we'd see something Everett Ross related, I'd go, "That's Harlan's favorite Black Panther character," and then because I'm making a joke that he's racist because he actually is, but I'll stop saying that now.
All right, you got it.
Yeah, I basically just told them about how Comic-Con, every time we saw something Everett Ross, I'd say that's your favorite Black Panther character. That's how the joke started.
There. Oh, that's right. This is the camera.
Do you have anyone else from Black Panther?
Yes, I have. Look at this sly dog.
That does not look like Martin Freeman.
Well, that angle doesn't. It kind of does like.
It does a bit.
A little bit.
If it focuses.
I also have.
Yeah, it does look like him actually.
I also have Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan.
Nice. Yeah, but what characters from Black Panther do you have? That Don't do that. Okay, are we done?
I think that's it.
We were like, oh, maybe this can be a short episode. We'll just see how long we talk for.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, if we want to do a short episode, we have to have a plan.
We have to limit ourselves, but we had a lot to talk about, and that's fine.
We did have a lot to talk about.
There's nothing wrong with talking on a podcast.
Unless if you're talking about the wrong type of baked bean.
Okay, Harlan, please can you wrap us up by singing the weekly wrap-up song that wraps up the podcast?
This is the weekly. No, that's not. How did I?
I don't remember. Just do a new one.
This is the weekly end up wrap up week of the song.
This is the weekly end of week of the wrap up of the song. Did you just say?
Adios, everybody. Doot doodaloo.
Bye.